Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. If we learned anything from the Monday Night Raw go-home show for shitting grounds, it's that if you're a WWE superstar, there are many things you might want to be approached to do. You might want to be asked to be in the main event. You might want to be asked to open the show, but you do not want to be asked to be the referee for this Sunday's Universal Championship matchup, and we are going to tell you why, as we also highlight everything that was wrong with tonight's Monday Night Raw. You might feel like, oh, tonight wasn't such a bad show. I could see them doing some interesting things. I could see them trying. All they're trying to do is fool you into believing they got their shit together, and I am here to enlighten you. Thank you for joining me. This is the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review for the go-home show for shitting grounds. My name is Nick Nightmare. Welcome, Sledgeheads. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. And you know what? I'll be a nice guy, and I will give them a little bit of credit, because I do appreciate the fact that they gave us an ongoing storyline throughout the entirety of one show that actually started at the beginning of the show and ended at the end of the show with a little bit of the story told in between, and it actually didn't reveal anything, left us with a cliffhanger, and now nobody really knows who the referee is going to be for Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin this Sunday at Stomping Grounds. I appreciate the effort, but what I don't appreciate is the way they went about doing it, because it's criminal to me what they did to EC3 tonight. Just to, what, to get a pop? To try to get a laugh? This man has become a joke. Does Vince McMahon really believe that he is Dixie Carter's nephew? Like, what is it? What is it about EC3 that makes Vince McMahon just hate him so much? The guy was reduced to a literal corpse tonight on Monday Night Raw. And damn it, I'm even more mad because they kind of fooled me. They fooled me a little bit, because when EC3 was announced as the possible referee by Baron Corbin, I thought for a minute, hey, this might not be so bad. Maybe EC3 is going to get involved, cost Seth Rollins the title, get himself inserted into some more meaningful matches, and then it all went to shit. As Seth Rollins, the Spine Slayer, was on a rampage tonight, attacking everybody with a steel chair who even thought about, even considering for a second, being the referee for his matchup on Sunday. And the other thing I don't appreciate is Eric Young. Not that he didn't deserve to be beaten down, but the fact is, he was confronted by Seth Rollins, and he told Seth straight off, I'm not considering doing this. I am not going to be the referee on Sunday. I told him I'd think about it, but I'm not going to do it. And Seth Rollins attacks him anyway. How much of an asshole does that make Seth Rollins look like? And it didn't make much sense. Why would you still attack Eric Young unless Seth Rollins is somehow losing his mind because of the threat of Brock Lesnar? Like, at least explain that. Why would you hurt somebody who already told you, no, bro, I'm not going to go against you. We're good. I'm just going to go about my business. And then he turns around and walks away. Listen, we're friends. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go this way. You go that way. And everything's good. I'm not going to ref your match. And then you still got your spine shattered by a steel chair. And it just, I didn't appreciate that. It's a very heel thing for a face champion to do. And while that's essentially not really a big deal, it just makes it nonsensical. It makes everything confusing. Like, why would he do that? Especially that they're friends. If my friend told me he's got my back and he wasn't going to go against me, I'm not going to turn around and clock him one from behind even. Which makes it even worse. I didn't appreciate those things. And this whole thing kicked off with Elias. And I don't think anybody looked worse than Elias tonight. And I don't know if the rumors are true that Elias supposedly asked for his release. I've seen this floating around, and I don't know if this is an actual thing. I cannot confirm or deny those reports. But after what I've seen tonight, I hope that he does. If he didn't ask for his release, he definitely should. And if he already has, and this is what the WWE did to him as a result of that, that's just a shame. That Elias comes out, announces himself tonight. He was the first man to announce himself as the special referee. He gets his back assaulted by Seth Rollins. And then as the first match of the night, which is a fatal 5-way, begins, one at a time, Elias starts getting destroyed. Everybody hitting their signature maneuvers on him, one by one. The Miz, Ricochet, Braun Strowman, Boring Trashley, Old Milk Dud, Bobby Lashley. Everybody. All 5 guys. Cesaro hit him with the big swing. And I'm asking myself why. And then you look on social media and this guy Elias is saying, "Why have you forsaken me?" He didn't tag anybody in specifically, but this was his tweet following his appearance on Monday Night Raw tonight. And I'm asking the same goddamn question. This was a guy whose potential was through the roof. And now you got him literally looking like a moron. Jobbing out to everybody's finishers. For what reason? What did this accomplish? It did nothing to get anybody in that match over. It didn't need to. Everybody in this match is as over as they're going to be already. It just made me mad. That's all it did. As a guy who believed in the potential that Elias had to be a superstar, to see how far he has fallen and what a joke they turned him into, it hurts me. It hurts me as a fan. Oh, well, they're doing different things. They're making changes. They're making strides. The only thing they're changing is my blood pressure, and they're making it elevate to dangerous levels. Because not only do we get a 6-man tag tonight, not only is it an essential rematch from SmackDown Live, all they did was substitute Dolph Ziggler for Constable Dickhead, which is never a positive. And then, to top it off, they make it 2 out of 3 falls. So there is a possibility for this thing to go on all night long. So not only are you going to have a 6-man tag, it's going to be the longest segment of the night. It's going to be 2 out of 3 falls. Fuck you! That's all I hear from Vince McMahon. You guys don't want to see 6-man tags anymore? Ha ha ha! 2 out of 3 falls done. Fuck 'em! Why? And it isn't even a new one. It isn't even a different one. It's the New Day versus Owens and Zayn with Corbin instead of Ziggler. What creativity. Thanks for nothing. What the hell is happening on this show? I will never know. Oh, well, they had Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins. That was great, right? No, it wasn't. Having a high-profile match such as that suddenly sprung upon you for no reason other than Daniel Bryan coming out and saying, "Stephanie McMahon wanted me to come here to Monday Night Raw because this show sucks." And I can agree with that statement. And Los Angeles sucks. And I would not agree with that statement because I've never been to Los Angeles. I can't give you my opinion on it one way or another, but I'm sure it's a nice enough place for those of you that live there. And these are the reasons why Daniel Bryan is here. So he's going to come here because the show sucks and the city sucks to give you a main event versus Seth Rollins because Stephanie says so. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Because when you have a match like that, and you want to tout how this match hasn't happened in the last 4 years, and then all night long you want to hammer in the fact that Daniel Bryan has never been defeated by Seth Rollins. What the hell did you guys think was going to happen tonight? You're not going to fool me by making this a non-title matchup. There's no way Seth Rollins is losing tonight going into Stomping Grounds. So why is he facing Daniel Bryan on a random go-home show to a B-level pay-per-view? When their 2 stories don't even intertwine. And then they booked this matchup, and they could have given them a good 15, 20 minutes to put on a very entertaining, very good matchup. They should have made it for the title. It would have made it a lot more interesting, a lot more unpredictable. Or many of us would have still assumed Seth Rollins was going to retain. But at the very least, for 20 minutes, they could have put on a fantastic championship matchup. Seth Rollins could have retained, and then you could have had Corbin come out and finish the show the exact same way the show went off the air, which made me want to throw up. Corbin holding the Universal title way over his bald head was just something that made my entire dinner just raise itself right up here, and all my heartburn began again, and I needed to run and take some Pepto because I couldn't even imagine that this might be going down on Sunday. And I don't want to imagine it. But it is a very, very good possibility. And you could have went off the air the same way. But what I was getting to was they broke this matchup into 2 segments. They overbooked it with all kinds of shenanigans that were unnecessary, involving people in this matchup that had no business being out there. And it took away from what could have been a great match. Instead, we got about like a 6 to 7 minute matchup that felt like it was just getting started until it abruptly came to an end. And that's pretty much how you could surmise Monday Night Raw. That's how, like, the first hour started out pretty good. The Fatal 5-Way. I know that I said, you thought you were going to be free from the 6-man tag for a minute, right? Because you've seen these 5 guys. You go, oh, they're doing 5 instead of 6. Maybe we won't have to see a 6-man tag, but we would be wrong about that. But that first matchup was okay at best. The best thing about it was the fact that Ricochet came out the winner and is now your new challenger for the United States Championship, and we're going to have Samoa Joe versus Ricochet at Stomping Grounds, which is finally a match added to the card. So now I think there's 6 matches so far. I have to go back and double check, and I appreciated him getting the win here. The right man won, in my opinion. You're not going to want to see The Miz versus Samoa Joe. You're not going to want to see Bobby Lashley versus Samoa Joe. We've seen Strowman versus Joe. Cesaro versus Joe might be okay, but Ricochet is the guy that should be going over here. Is he going to beat Joe? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to beat him in his first chance here. But it could lead to a great SummerSlam rematch where Ricochet could be crowned the United States Champion and get his first main roster title in the singles division, and it would be great. I'd be all for that. But aside from that, it was just your standard bullshit WWE booking. I will give them credit for The Miz and Ricochet being the final 2 contestants in this elimination matchup. After all the Braun Strowman bullshit was finished with, and they all teamed up and eliminated Braun Strowman, it came down to The Miz and Ricochet, and I actually for a minute found myself enjoying their chemistry and how they were going about their match, but then I realized that The Miz is also a good guy, so we're watching a match of baby faces, and if this was old school heel Miz, this might actually be a feud we could get behind. Ricochet versus The Miz with maybe a championship belt like the United States title on the line. I could dig that. And I think it would be pretty good based on what I've seen tonight in their interaction in the ring. But other than that, unimportant match. What else was unimportant? Everything that happened in the women's division tonight, as much as it pains me to say, was unimportant. We keep getting these long, drawn-out promo segments from Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. Becky Lynch, her English is good, but a little irritating. The way she talks is not easy to follow. And Lacey Evans, by the same token, I could say the same thing because she irritates you with how slow she talks. And I thought it was hysterical that Becky Lynch pointed out the one thing about Lacey Evans that drives me nuts the most is that her tone and the way she talks just takes forever. And I just want to just get it out. Just say what you got to say, lady. So while Becky Lynch and I are on the same page there, the segment itself was just the same shit we've been seeing. They talk about who's better than who, I'm the lady, you're the man, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, Becky Lynch is knocking her out. Who cares? Lacey Evans comes out looking like a fucking Christmas day. Big red dress, white stupid hat. Who cares, man? None of this stuff feels important to me. And I don't care. And that's the worst thing that can happen. Daniel Bryan cut a promo. It was a great promo. Like I told you guys, he said the McMahons wanted him here because this place sucks, both Monday Night Raw and the city of Los Angeles. It's the smog capital of the world. Bryan is here to excite everybody, so get ready to be excited because he is going to fight Seth Rollins tonight. Prepare to be excited. I have no reason to be excited. They didn't follow it with anything to get you excited either, because we had the return of the Viking Raiders. They must have been off raiding villages somewhere, because they've been gone for about a month by my count. But they finally showed back up to work. The Viking Raiders came to Monday Night Raw to fight Russ and Randy Taylor. Who? Yeah, I said Russ and Randy Taylor. Or you could also call them Dick and Doc Doolittle. Who gives a shit? Why are they still getting squash matches? Weren't they already beyond this? Weren't they wrestling in like triple threats versus real, well, I don't want to say real teams. There's no real tag teams, but you know, whatever tag teams were around. Now they're fighting these two nut jobs. Who gives a shit? It took them a whole 30 seconds to squash this, and then it became a Benny Hill Championship segment, with R-Truth coming out dressed like Christmas as well. Actually, he was just it looked like a red coat. Some sort of an English gentleman red coat with the old school, like, you know, judge hats from back in the 1800s and shit. Carmella's dressed like Charlie Chaplin. What? They're running around like a couple of clowns. And the cavalcade of clowns is what I've been calling them. Tonight, all of a sudden, Corey Graves wants to say the cavalcade of superstars. How many times tonight have we heard Renee Young call this show, or a segment on this show, hot steaming garbage? Are these guys listening to our shows or what? Not just my show, but there's a whole community of us that consider Monday Night Raw hot garbage. And now they're using our own terminologies against us? That's not right. In this case, nobody gives a shit. You had Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins in the mix. These guys were just tag team champions of the world. Now they're running around like a couple of chickens in the back. Not even getting a rematch. Not giving a shit. Oh, well, that's over. We're going to go run around with these clowns for this fucking toy belt that nobody gives a shit about, that looks like an avocado on a golden plate. Gives a shit. Shane McMahon, of course, nothing positive to say. The Shane McSweat train hit Monday Night Raw tonight and was in a luxury box, continuing the celebration, continuing to be the best in the world, having Drew McIntyre and the Revival by his side, drinking champagne and eating caviar, and I don't give a shit, and I don't know why we're watching this. It's the most predictable thing ever. If you didn't know before the end of the night that Roman Reigns was going to bust up the festivities in one way or another, then you have not been paying attention very well. And then by the end of this night, Roman Reigns would end up punching Shane McMahon in the face, telling him to deliver a message to Drew McIntyre. And I'm sitting here confused. I'm like, was this feud for Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon, or was it really versus Drew McIntyre all along? Are we still on this road with him that he was on since before WrestleMania? Why hasn't Drew McIntyre been moved along from this? I don't know. Why hasn't Roman Reigns been able to beat Shane McMahon, just like The Miz was unable to supposedly beat Shane McMahon? I don't know. But anytime all of that nonsense comes on my screen, all I want to do is close my eyes and go to sleep. Because Monday is a rough day for me anyway. It's always a very long day at work. It's always a very hard day at work at my job. And then I want to come home and be relaxed and entertained, but instead I am softly lulled to sleep by the sounds of Shane McMahon and Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw, in an angle that should be on SmackDown Live. But honestly, who knows who's on what fucking show anymore, if we're being honest about it, right? Who knows what? I don't remember who's on what show. I really don't. Kevin Owens, is he Raw or SmackDown? Sami Zayn, is he Raw or SmackDown? Roman Reigns, we know he was moved to SmackDown, but ever since then, he's been on Monday Night Raw more than anybody. Shane McMahon, he's the commissioner, I guess, of SmackDown still, but he's always hanging out and partying on Monday Night Raw. What the fuck is going on? You want to talk about the fucking wild card rule? There's like 9 wild cards on Monday Night Raw tonight. I don't understand anything that's happening anymore. But they're doing a better job. At least they've seemed a little bit more structured. At least no, man. It's the same bullshit. One decent storyline throughout the night does not mean we've turned the corner to save the fucking universe of wrestling. Because that's not what happened. Oh, well, it was amusing. We had Heath Slater in the back going to Shane McMahon's VIP room asking for a raise because his kids got big. I got kids. My kids got older. Things are more expensive. I need a raise. How about you go out there and have a fucking match? Because as far as I know, you don't get paid unless you go out there and wrestle, right? But if he's not wrestling, he's not making money. Instead of asking for a raise, just ask for a match, bro. Then you'll make some money. Or ask for your release and go on the indies and make some real money. Unbelievable that this is what they've come up with. All to get a laugh. Because he used to be in 3MB with Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre offers him some money. They go outside the VIP room. He offers him some cash out of pocket. Heath Slater doesn't want to take the cash from Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre drops it on the floor. And as you would expect, when Heath Slater goes to pick it up, Drew McIntyre attacks him. The Revival come out. They pull him off. They pull him back into the VIP room. But then they go out and pick up the cash. Because apparently being tag team champions doesn't come with a nice enough bonus that you need to pick up money off the floor. Stupid segment. Oh, well, it was amusing. No, it wasn't. It was stupid. I don't give two shits about Heath Slater. He's worth about as much as nothing. He's really worth nothing. They've done nothing with him, and doing what they did to him did no damage whatsoever. The only damage it did was to me, psychologically and physically, because I had to sit there and watch another segment with Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon that is existing for the sole purpose of just having Shane McMahon on TV. There was no reason for that to go down. Except to bore the shit out of me. Just like the Kevin and Sammy show, or the Sammy and Kevin show, or the Owens and Zayn show, whatever the fuck show you want to call it. We don't need any more shows. We don't need any more people talking, but that's what we got. We got Kevin Owens out there in the ring. He was all pissed off because they didn't update the graphics, and he's yelling to some guy named Bob. He's like, "Oh, thanks, Bob. You didn't update the graphics, Bob." Gives a shit about Bob. I wouldn't blame Bob. They change and everybody's getting a new show every other fucking week. He's probably tired of making new graphics. He's probably wondering why the show's a piece of shit, just like we are. What am I making graphics for a fucking piece of shit show for? I should try to get a job somewhere else. I wouldn't blame Bob. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have this segment to tell the world they have removed themselves from consideration after Seth Rollins beat down Sami Zayn last week for trying to be the referee in the championship matchup. This is when the EC3 nonsense comes into play. He was immediately attacked by Seth Rollins with the chair. Rollins would leave. And then the New Day would come out, pick up EC3, Weekend at Bernie's style, and use him as a puppet. If he's so useless to you that he's nothing more than a dead body or a puppet, why not go all in and just throw him in the back of the Firefly Funhouse? Let him be one of Bray Wyatt's little demonic things. He's dead as he's ever going to be. And we've seen it tonight. You want to see EC3? When we tell you he's dead, tonight he was literally dead. The New Day with a microphone in his face, being a ventriloquist like they're holding Howdy fucking Doody. Terrible. Fucking awful. Kofi Kingston was out there saying that he was the WWE champion. He goes where he wants to go. He's going to bring his boys with him. And that's why the entirety of the New Day broke the wild card rule and is there for tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. They talked a little bit about Dolph Ziggler. And this is what I'm talking about. Kofi Kingston's match this Sunday is against Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler is not on Monday Night Raw. He is on SmackDown Live, apparently. And Kofi Kingston is in there fighting with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. For what reason? Doesn't make much sense. Which feud is he in? Is he fighting against Ziggler or is he fighting against Owens? That's the confusion that we're in thanks to the super shit down and Kevin Owens not wanting to fly over there. Now we have these two muddled up, confusing storylines just blurring into one another for the sake of what? TV time, trying to fill time, repeating segments from one show to the next, because that's all this did. This was just a setup for that 2 out of 3 falls 6-man tag. And I didn't give a shit. Good for you if you found it amusing. Personally, I did not. I did for a second enjoy this next segment, which featured AJ Styles and the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson. AJ Styles finally saying what I have been saying for years about the club, which is these guys were badass. They were at one time one of the best tag teams in the world. They were collecting belts all over Asia, in New Japan, everywhere they would go. They were just mopping up wherever they would go, man. They would just leave people in their wake. Then they came to WWE and they became a couple of jokes. They're walking around in doctor's coats. They're being a couple of fools. And AJ Styles called them out on it tonight. Saying, when was the last time you guys even won a match? When was the last time you even featured on a WWE show? I was like, good for you, AJ. Fire up your boys. Then they were going out to fight the Usos tonight on Monday Night Raw anyway, apparently. So they needed a little pep talk like that. And I thought we were going to see some sort of a resurgence of Gallows and Anderson. But instead what we got was a terrible, terrible matchup, which did nothing but show Gallows and Anderson in the way that they have been in the last couple of years. They came up short against the Usos once again. So all of that stuff with AJ was for nothing. AJ Styles was watching on a screen in the back. They kept cutting to him watching, as they like to do. But what is it going to accomplish? What did it do? It did nothing right now. Maybe it's just the beginning. And if this is just the first step, and week after week we're going to see AJ Styles trying to get the club back on track until they get back to their winning ways, maybe it'll be interesting. At least they'll find a way to use AJ Styles, right? This guy who's been sitting out for a couple of weeks himself. It's got really nothing to do, so why not form a faction? Do something. Paul Heyman was here tonight to give the same fucking Paul Heyman promo he's been giving every week. Now this guy's going to come out and he thinks I'm going to fall for that shit every time. Oh, Brock Lesnar might cash in on Sunday. He might cash in Monday. He might cash in on Easter Day and July 4th Day. And I don't give a shit. I'll believe it when I see it. Just because Paul Heyman says it, don't mean I'm going to expect it. You already got me once, you ain't getting me again. I expected it to happen at the Super Showdown, but you bait and switched me, and you're not going to do it again. I'll believe he's going to cash in when I hear that music, and that bell rings, and the ref has the briefcase, then we'll know. Until then, I don't give a shit what Paul Heyman has to say about anything. Paul Heyman does a little LeBron James joke. All the typical things that Paul Heyman does. And it's just the same old, over and over again. Backstage, Baron Corbin offered Eric Young the role as referee. And this is where Seth Rollins would bump into him following that. Eric Young assured him he was not going to accept. He was just tired of talking to Corbin and he was about to move along, and Rollins said, hey, listen, we've known each other a long time and I wasn't even worried about it. Young looked like he was relieved, you know what I mean? He was getting ready to move along, and then Rollins destroyed his back with a chair from behind, nailing him repeatedly like a maniac. Like his friends on the floor, he just told him, I'm not gonna go against you, bro. I got your back, bro. And this guy's just assaulting him, Stone Cold Steve Austin style, with a chair. I don't get it. After this segment is when we got the Usos defeating Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson in under 3 minutes so that we can get to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns gets a promo. He said the super shit down was not a good week for him. It wasn't a good week for any of us. We had to watch that shit, bro. You're not alone. He didn't have any excuses because excuses aren't entertaining. And then Vince McMahon, if he wrote this, he wants to give us the fucking instruction manual. He wants to tell us what's supposed to entertain us, right? What's supposed to entertain us is seeing him whoop some ass. I know what's gonna entertain you, seeing me whoop some ass. It's the last thing that's going to fucking entertain me, because all this led to was Shane McMahon showing up, which all that led to is my dinner once again almost coming up, and I could care less. Roman Reigns eventually made his way to the VIP room like we all knew, and was very predictable. All knew was that was going to happen because Drew McIntyre mentioned his kids. So now we have Big Dog, Daddy Dog, gotta go have vengeance for he said my kids' names and I'm gonna go fuck his ass. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Shenanigans. Who cares? Didn't get me excited. Didn't give a shit about it. Charlie Caruso was approached in the back by Bayley, who was hanging out with Naomi and Natalya, and this whole thing with Bayley and Alexa Bliss is just making me cringe so hard, man. All of this nonsense is happening over social media tweets. Oh, somebody tweeted Bayley didn't want to take a picture with a little girl because she was wearing a Nikki Cross shirt. Who cares? Is that really a big deal? Is that really something that's going to set off Nikki Cross? Is this the crazy Nikki Cross or not? Like, I'm still confused about the whole thing. The pairing of the two of them is annoying to me. The fact that they were going to face the champions tonight as a personal gift to Alexa Bliss. Oh, I talked to the right people and I pulled some strings. I'm sure she pulled some strings. She's newly single now. God knows what favors she had to do in the back to get this matchup. Awful. Bayley was all pissed off about this tweet, and she's like, I'm going to go shut them up. I'm going to go shut up Alexa Bliss, and she leaves. And then the Iconics versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross is about to take place. Bayley decides to sit in and watch. This match did not go long at all. The Iconics retained their championship, and to show you just how important the WWE finds the women's tag team titles, they didn't even catch the pinfall. They were more focused on Alexa Bliss and Bayley's bullshit drama on the outside that they actually missed the roll-up and the pin. And all of a sudden the match was just over, and Nikki Cross was pinned, and now Nikki Cross was pissed, and now Nikki Cross says she's going to be in Alexa Bliss's corner at Stomping Grounds, which means we can maybe expect Alexa Bliss to actually win the SmackDown Live Women's Championship thanks to Nikki Cross, or maybe Nikki Cross has a miscommunication of sorts and ends up costing Alexa Bliss the match, which brings this whole thing to an end, which is the best thing we could possibly hope for. And then Nikki Cross can be put on a different path away from this Alexa Bliss stuff. You might be enjoying it because of their little odd couple scenario, but to me, it's just one of the worst things they could have done to such a unique and different character that was sorely needed in the women's division. And now you're just putting her next to this little mini Barbie doll that just got nothing else to do. So what, she's actually wrestling now? So we're supposed to all just bow down? I love Alexa Bliss as much as the next guy. But she's ruining Nikki Cross. And she's ruining this show. And tomorrow night on SmackDown, we're going to have a moment of bliss. And I already can't deal with it. And if that's what Alexa was going to do this week, then there was no reason for her to be on Raw tonight with Nikki Cross fighting the Moronics Iconics. Giving one of the worst promos on their way out to the ring. But we're not going to dwell on that. The Iconics defeated Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross to retain the championship. My favorite moment of the night, once again, week after week, the Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt said he knew what it was like to not belong. That's why he built this funhouse, so we could all be together. All of the puppets showed up, including the crazy Vince puppet, which I thought was the reason for him not being shown on SmackDown Live. I guess that's not the case. Bray said people worship what they fear, and that fear was power. And then things got really creepy. Lots of flickering screens and crazy imagery. A radio station, an old school radio tuning device was there, and the song was changing. We got a couple of different remixes of the Muscle Man Dance song in there. Do the Muscle Man Dance. I haven't done that one on the show yet. We're going to have to get into that another time, not tonight. But Bray Wyatt then appeared as The Fiend and was using this very strange voice. He kept repeating the phrase, follow the leader, and then finished it off with a let me in, and it was creepy as fuck. and I cannot wait to see how much further they're going to push this and how this is going to translate in the ring for him. Hopefully they keep him away, though. There's no need to rush that. Let's continue to have fun, build the suspense, and just that creepy aura around this thing, which was so lacking in the beginning, but now is that one little morsel that I'm waiting for every Monday Night Raw. The one thing I'm looking forward to is the Firefly Funhouse, and once again, he did not disappoint. The non-title match for the Universal Championship then would finish the show. One thing that happened a couple of times tonight was Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch being shown on screen, showing their love. They were shown at the Nickelodeon Awards, I think, or whatever fucking movie awards they were at, on the red carpet. They showed them a couple of times tonight, passing in the back like two ships in the night. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is with this endorsement? All of a sudden the WWE's on board. What other fucking team do they really do that for? Did they do that for Lana and Rusev? Not really. Are they doing that for Charlotte and Andrade? Are we seeing them giving lovers glances? Oh, look at my man. Look at my woman. Good luck tonight. You too, baby. And not even touch each other, but just walk past each other. Baby. I see you later, baby. I got you. I got your man right here, Becky Lynch. Oh, yeah, I'm your man, Seth Rollins. What are we fucking watching here? What are we watching here? Ridiculous. The final match, like I talked about earlier, started off, and it was only about 2 minutes long before all kinds of nonsense happened. Eric Rowan ended up smashing Seth Rollins into the ring and getting the disqualification. And then the New Day would come running out, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, The Revival, the Usos, everybody's out there just brawling amongst each other, and they just were kind of calling off the match. But then Mike Rome would just announce that the match was going to be restarted one-on-one, and nobody was going to be allowed at ringside, and I'm wondering, who the fuck made this call? Are we back in the days of the Raw Anonymous GM? Thank God there was no little beep going off, but somehow, someway, somebody had to relay that message to him. Who made that call? We'll never know. One of the many wrestling mysteries that will just continue to pile up over time. And then they would get to the meat of the match, which was pretty good. They restarted the match up. It went about 9, maybe 10 minutes tops, and it was everything you would expect. It was cut a little bit too short because it wasn't as long as I thought, and Seth Rollins remains the champion. It's a non-title match. Seth Rollins wins that matchup is what I meant to say. I'm fucking exhausted. Raw melts my brain, and while this show started off okay with Ricochet winning and things feeling it with a decent pace, and the storyline of Seth Rollins just attacking everybody all night long who was even thinking about being a referee, it seemed like it was okay, but the show just fucking dragged. It just really, really dragged on once we got past that first maybe 45 minutes, and there was nothing really interesting going on. They booked one more match for the pay-per-view, which is the United States Championship matchup, which I'm actually excited about. But other than that, nothing much more to talk about on tonight's Monday Night Raw. Lots of things wrong with it, like we highlighted for you guys already, but that is the case, and that's what we are here for. We're not here to talk about how great everything is. Oh, look at how much they tried. Ricochet got a win. Let me go jerk off in the bathtub. Oh, man, that's one fucking minuscule step. The mistakes continue to pile up, and I see no reason for all of this excessive positivity from all of these people on social media. Oh, it was not bad. Raw made strides. It was a good show. Tonight was a good show. What fucking 8-ball are you snorting, pal? Pass some over this way. I don't do that kind of shit, but if it's going to make me enjoy Monday Night Raw, maybe I ought to start trying. That's a terrible thing to suggest. Thank you guys so much for joining me on another episode of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review. God damn, they don't make it easy on me because this show fucking sucks. But you know what? Stomping Ground is not going to be that much better than this. They do have one interesting matchup, and maybe we'll simulate that matchup. Maybe we will simulate the United States Championship, because I was looking for something else to do. We already put up Bailey versus Alexa Bliss. We have that 2K simulation live on the channel for you. And coming Wednesday, we are going to have the steel cage matchup featuring Crybaby Dolph. Should have been me. Versus the champ, Kofi Kingston. We have that one coming up for you guys, so keep your eye out for it. This Wednesday, our WWE 2K19 simulation prediction and previews continue. And I might just fire up Joe versus Ricochet, and we will see what happens there. If I could get it done before the weekend, and I will promise to do just that. If you guys have missed anything else that has been going on the channel, we have got our AEW coverage of Double or Nothing. We have been talking about everything that's been going on in pro wrestling. We got the Jon Moxley interview that we talked about, and our continuing coverage of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live each and every week. This is your new official home, and you need to join the club, and you can do so by hitting that subscribe button right now and joining the one of over 1,600 plus that know when you want your wrestling and entertainment news bullshit free, full of fun and truth, that Sledgehammer TV is the place to be. Don't forget to keep your eye out for the Stomping Ground Steel Cage Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston match prediction and 2K simulation coming at you guys this Wednesday, only right here on YouTube. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue, the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed anything we said or did today on today's broadcast, and then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they were confused as shit over Monday Night Raw and they need somebody to make things a little bit clearer, just like I do for you. You could help out a friend and be like, listen, did Raw confuse you? I got just the cure for that, and it's right here at the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com.